All right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, happy to be talking to an individual that has quite the big championship fight here. It is for the flyweight title going down on July the 16th. We have got Juliana Velasquez defending that hardware against Denise Kielholtz and welcoming Juliana back on the show. How's your day going so far there, Juliana?
Falou, né, que é prazer falar com uma pessoa que é a campeã e vai ter a defesa contra a Denise. E tá perguntando como tá sendo seu dia hoje.
I'm great. Great. Beautiful.
Yeah, well, I love hearing that. And just, the last time we got to speak was ahead of your Bruna Ellen fight. And one of the big quotes from that was you talking about how you were going to become the champion of Bellator in 2020, and just a tumultuous timeline throughout the year and everything with the pandemic and whatnot, but you did end up actualizing that goal into reality. Like, how did that moment feel, just with all the hurdles that, were leading up to it, many of which were out of your control, but still, how did that moment feel?
A última vez que a gente se falou foi essa da sua luta contra a Bruna Ellen, e você disse que até o final de 2020 você seria campeã mundial. Acabou tendo todos os empecilhos relativos ao Covid, mas você acabou tendo a luta no final do ano e conseguiu conquistar isso. Como é que foi para você chegar àquele momento e todas as tribulações, todos os problemas que você teve para chegar até lá?
Acho que os problemas que eu passei, acho que todo mundo passou também, né? Acredito que todo mundo tenha passado por algum problema dessa pandemia aí. Mas o importante é que me deram a oportunidade em dezembro para lutar, eu consegui fechar o ano com uma luta, com uma vitória, graças a Deus. E essa vitória veio o título, com certeza. E como eu falei em outra entrevista, eu não comentei com ninguém, mas eu tive um mês, né, assim que eu recebi a notícia da minha luta. Então isso foi uma coisa bem complicada para mim. Essa que foi a grande barreira para a chegada do título, né?
Yeah, it took a long time to get there. Everyone in the world has had some issues recently because of the pandemic, and me in particular, not many people know that, but I had COVID leading up to the fight, and it affected my training camp and my performance. That was the biggest hurdle that I had to overcome, because of course I was free of COVID, but I was still battling the issues that come along with it. But everything turned out okay, and I got the belt, so that's what mattered in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was also noticing and doing my research there that fight was dedicated to, her late brother, Rafael, who she has an image of, tattooed on the inside of her bicep there. So what did that, mean with the victory too? I imagine the title victory was a huge accomplishment in its own right, but how did it feel to, I guess, have that level of a tribute to her late brother there?
Eu vi que você tem uma tatuagem, né, em homenagem ao seu irmão, e que o título para você era muito importante para dedicar a memória dele. Como foi que você se sentiu de finalmente conseguir fazer isso?
Foi uma sensação né? Só que, como eu sempre dedico todas as lutas a ele, assim o título veio, eu consegui dedicar a ele, mas a próxima, com certeza, eu também quero dedicar mais um título a ele, e eu sei que ele vai estar ali comigo, então. Mas foi realmente um momento incrível, foi um momento de realização pessoal, familiar, foi tudo perfeito, né? Eu ter conseguido homenagear uma pessoa que sempre sonhou comigo, né? E esteve comigo nessa batalha aí do MMA. Isso foi bem incrível.
Yeah, it was amazing to finally accomplish that. He was someone who's had been with me all the time, who was always supporting my career, my challenges in MMA, and to be able to dedicate that to him, it was amazing. And not just him, but my family and everyone that's been supporting me so far. and not just this title fight, this title I'm dedicating to him, but the title defense as well, and every other title fight, every other win that I have in my career will be dedicated to him.
Well, that's a beautiful kind of dynamic there, and it just really seemed like a huge moment, just in the sense of I was also seeing a quote from a past interview saying just not able to achieve that gold medal in judo, but that this moment felt like capturing that gold medal. So did that moment feel just like, I guess, like the culmination of the entire martial arts journey, just like a real like lifelong pursuit kind of a moment?
Essa jornada assim, de chegar no cinturão, sentiu como assim a concretização, a realização como uma lutadora de artes marciais, foi esse tipo de momento assim para você?
Foi, com certeza, né? Vim de um esporte olímpico. Dentro do esporte olímpico, eu queria chegar numa Olimpíada e buscar uma medalha olímpica, né? Já que isso não veio, eu vim e ter conseguido vencer, ter um título mundial, esse cinturão acho que valeu com uma medalha olímpica para mim ter o mesmo peso.
Yeah, for sure. I come from an Olympic sport, and my dream was to make the Olympics and win the gold medal in judo. And to me, I wasn't able to get to the Olympics, but this world title feels the same as that gold medal. And I'm sure that it's gonna, every time that I win any fight, that's how it's gonna feel for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I just imagine there's like a pronounced level of excitement just with this being the first, defense of the title. And I mean, Alima Leigh McFarland was the inaugural champion and held the belt for a certain period of time. So like, is there that excitement to kind of like, get out there for the first defense and I guess kind of like, flesh out her resume, but also grow the broader lineage of the Bellator title?
Você sente que essa próxima luta serve como uma forma não apenas de crescer o seu cartel, né, o seu currículo, mas também sua história com o cinturão do Bellator e como atleta?
Ah, com certeza, com certeza. Penso todas as minhas na mesma cabeça, né? Vou lá buscar o meu melhor, fazer o meu melhor e acho que o trabalho foi feito alto. Então, eu tô indo para essa luta muito confiante.
Oi, Ju, você cortou aí, você pode repetir, por favor?
Eu falei que sim, é muito importante para mim, que eu vou para essa luta com a mesma cabeça que eu vou em todas as outras lutas, né? Então, com certeza, a preparação foi igual a todas as outras e eu estou muito confiante para essa luta.
Yes, that's how I take every other step, and I prepare to this fight like I prepare to all others, like it's most important fight of my life, and that's the motivation that I have to be better and to get better at every fight.
And this fight coming up is a high stakes one, just taking on someone in Denise Kielholtz, who has 4 victories in her last 4 outings there, and got that 43-second stoppage of Kate Jackson there. I'm kind of curious, like, what the general thoughts are on just Denise Kielholtz's efforts in the Bellator cage so far, and just the thoughts on her as a fighter overall.
Denise está vindo de algumas vitórias, né? Ela tem um cartel bastante baixo também. Quais são os seus pensamentos sobre ela como atleta?
Acho que ela é uma atleta imprevisível, né? Uma atleta baixa, porém parece ter um porte mais atlético. Ela vem do kickboxing, tem faixa preta de judô, né? Então ela é uma incógnita, assim, o que esperar dela na luta, né? Mas tô preparado também. quanto no meu poder de grappling. Então, acho que vai ser uma grande luta.
Yeah, she's a very, very good fighter. She's not just a kickboxer, she's just also a judo black belt. So, although we think we know what she's gonna do during the fight, she's a bit, it's a bit unknown because she can do more than what she's known for. But I've prepared to every aspect of this fight. If we're gonna strike, I'm ready for it, and if we're gonna grapple, I'm ready for it. And I did everything that was needed for this fight.
Yeah, for sure. And, in talking about those fight preparations, the last time that, I was speaking with Juliana, she was training with, Team Nogueira pretty extensively. Is the training still going on at Team Nogueira for this particular camp? And if that is the case, who are the main, I guess, like sparring partners and people that she's training with?
Seu camp continua sendo na Team Nogueira. E quem são seus principais parceiros de treino, as pessoas que você está treinando agora para essa luta?
Sim, meus treinamentos continuam na Team Nogueira. Eu tenho o Rafael Feijão, o Vander Valverde, que está sempre me acompanhando. Tem a Josi Lima, que também vai até comigo nessa luta. Tem o Luiz, tem o Thiaguinho, os mesmos parceiros de sempre. A gente sempre tenta se adaptar ali no treinamento, mas os meus parceiros são sempre os mesmos.
Yeah, I'm still training at Nogueira. I have Rafael Feijão coordinating my practice. My coach, Vander, will be there with me in the corner. And I have Josiane, who will also be in my corner and helping me train for her as a sparring. And all the guys at Nogueira, they pretty much use the same people for my fights. And the focus remains the same, and I feel pretty ready for this.
Yeah, getting locked in and, staying with a great team for sure. But I'm kind of wondering what Juliana's thoughts are on just, fans kind of being, I guess, reintegrated back into the picture here and everything like that. Like, what are the feelings just getting ready to, be able to perform for Bellator MMA fans live again?
E como você se sente de que vai poder lutar de novo aí diante dos fãs, né? Esse evento vai ser aberto lá nos Estados Unidos. Qual a sua sensação em relação a isso?
Acho isso incrível, né? Acho que é mais por saber que nós estamos voltando para uma vida normal, né? Porque essa questão eu nem vejo público, para falar a verdade, quando eu estou ali dentro do octógono. Parece que só tem eu e aquela pessoa ali, né? Minha adversária. Então, eu fico feliz por estarmos vencendo isso, por estarmos voltando a uma vida normal, né? Mas por isso.
I feel happy because it shows that we're closer to getting back to a normal life, and I like to have fans in the arena. But what I like more about this is that things are getting back into control.
Hey Dylan, we're gonna wrap up in a minute. Okay, so maybe one more.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually just going to ask about just, some prior comment about wanting to take part in one of, Bellator's Grand Prix. Like, it seems like divisional tournaments are a popular thing in Bellator and everything like that. Like, is that something Juliana would like to have, I guess, set into play at some point, like getting that 125-pound Grand Prix title at some point in her career?
Você gostaria que o Bellator fizesse torneio, você teria interesse em participar de torneio na sua categoria e o cinturão do GP é algo que você gostaria de adquirir?
Sim, com certeza. Eu queria muito esse GP, eu acho que... Eu acredito que aconteça, né? Eu sempre acredito e eu gostaria muito de sair.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to have the Grand Prix in my division and to add that belt. That's something that I would love to be part of.
Yeah, hopefully we can see that flyweight Grand Prix at some point. But coming up on July the 16th, the divisional flyweight belt going to be defended. Juliana Velasquez and Denise Kielholtz getting out there and testing skills. I really appreciate the time from everyone involved and just all of the great insights. Best of luck, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Ele agradeceu pela entrevista, né? Falou sobre a luta e disse para você aproveitar o resto do seu dia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, we've got quite the fight going down. Bellator 262. It's happening July the 16th. We've got Juliana Velasquez and Denise Kielholtz testing skills for the flyweight championship with Bellator MMA and welcoming Denise on the show for the very first time. How's your day going so far there, Denise?
I'm really good. I'm really excited for next Friday. I'm feeling good. Everything is just like the schedule. So, I'm feeling really good. And if I say really, I mean really.
And it feels like it's been a long time coming. I mean, you've been on such a streak with Bellator MMA. Like, how did it feel when you finally got the news that you were going to be in that, title contender position there? Because I think a lot of people were wanting to see you, have that bid for the Bellator MMA belt for a little bit there. So how did it feel when you officially got the news you'd be contending for the MMA hardware with Bellator?
Wow, it feels like, I think when I have the call, if I have to be honest, after my last fight, I was already in the back of my mind that I maybe be the next challenger against Juliana Velasquez. And if I have to be honest, I think I have from all the division the most of the chance to fight her. And so I was already in training, and like I'm always in training, but in the back of my mind that maybe I get a call that I will be the next challenger. And I think in May I have that call, and when my manager told me that I'm the next challenger, it was like just jumping on the roof. I think cry, scream, laughing. I was really happy because I'm looking really forward to this title fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was checking out some older social media posts you had there, like when you were mostly competing with, Bellator's kickboxing brand, and you had a photo with the, Bellator MMA championship more for just let's see how it looks kind of thing. Like you weren't actively competing in MMA at that point as much. So just how does all that feel? Like, I mean, that's kind of an interesting sort of dynamic there.
It was, that picture was like, it was for fun because it was in St. Louis. I fought a kickboxing match there. And when I was fighting in the kickboxing division, I was not even thinking about going to MMA. So when I had the photo shoot and I saw the title on the table, I said, hey, can I have just a picture with the title just for fun, And then a couple of years later, I'm now fighting for this title. So it still seems like a dream, like the whole road to this title, like coming from kickboxing, winning the kickbox title, defending the kickbox title, and then Bellator asked me to fight in the MMA division. And after that first fight in Israel that I won with the armbar, I knew, okay, this is also something that I want to be good at it and want to be the champion in it. So after that first fight from Bellator MMA, I knew that picture with the title that I had is not just for fun. This is now for real. This is also for real my dream. So it's all started with a picture, but now it's for real, and now it's my dream and my ultimate dream to have this title on my wall for in my whole career, because this title means more than just a title or just a title fight. It's for all the hard work what I did from the age of 9, from judo to kickboxing till now MMA. This title will be the crown of everything, all those years. So it means more than just a fight.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because I was seeing a previous article about you that was saying MMA was initially kind of like a one-off idea almost. Like you have the well-steeped, kickboxing and judo resume. It's like, hey, let's try this out. But it's really cool that just I guess the thrill of victory and how I guess the skill set translated to MMA kind of led you on this path that you're on now, getting ready to, fight for a world title.
Yeah, it is, it was like, because I did kickboxing, and in the kickbox division, I fight against everyone. In every organization I fought, I was the world champion. And after that, I fought again and I won again, and then there was not like really someone that brings some fire in me, you know. And so I was, most of the time was after my last kickboxing fight, I was thinking, okay, what's next, you know? And the fire was a little bit down because I fought already everyone and the best of the best. And then Bellator came with MMA, with an MMA idea, and then it was like, hey, like the light burns in the back of my mind from, hey, that's also really interesting. Let's try that one. And now I'm standing here and fighting next week for the flyweight Bellator World Championship. So yeah, it goes really fast if you start believing in your dreams.
Yeah, I love the positivity and just like the work ethic and champion mentality for sure. But, you know, you talk about just the inspiration being in these different martial arts. It seems like Bob Schreiber has been great with just, you know, inspiring different people in the gym. Like I was seeing some interviews where you were kind of talking about how just like getting some fighter mentalities cultivated in some of like the more like young adults in the gym and stuff like that. Like how has it been in your experience working with Bob Schreiber, someone that is just, you know, a veteran of Pride and just a real OG in the game in a lot of ways?
For sure, and he still is an OG, you know, like
oh yeah,
when he is really like tough, and he also when he gives his lessons and what he teach is really tough. You cannot go to him and say, okay, I have a little bit pain here, or then you say, okay, go to your mama and cry there or over there because I'm your trainer, I'm not your mama, you know. So he's really tough, and when I see his fighting, it also motivates me to fight like that, you know. So he's not only a legend in MMA, and especially what he do and still doing for MMA in Holland. He's really big. So for me, it's like an honor that he is my trainer and that he sees something in me to create a world champion of me in MMA. So I was really honored that Bob Schreiber takes the time to train me and to teach me his things, because his knowledge about MMA and what he did in MMA is just like unbelievable. And still his work and every word that he's saying, I believe that, you know. If he says that this wall is white, I believe it, or this wall is green or something, I believe it because he says so. So I believe so much in this man, and I believe that he also makes the best MMA fighter of me. So Bob is not only a legend for sport, but he's also a legend for me. Personal.
Yeah, well, it's cool there's that dynamic there. It really just resonates in the general vibe that seems to exist at the team, even in some of the, you know, social media posts with some other teammates and stuff like that. Like some of the Stefan Struve posts you have up there are pretty fun, but I'm kind of curious as to, like, I guess some of the main, like, sparring partners you get in that work with. Like, who have you been working with ahead of this Bellator title bid specifically?
Yeah, well, we have at Bob Schreiber, we have a team like, I think around, we have a big team, but I think like 7 to 8 fighters, young fighters who are really hungry to fight and really want to prove, and they have that mentality that Bob has, you know, like the fighting skills. They don't care who I am or am I a kickboxer. I think the first lesson that I took there was like, they don't even know me, you know, they just want to rip my head off and want to knock me down in sparring. And that hungry in fighting and that hungry to make a better fighter of me, that's what I'm looking for. And you know, I'm a kickboxer and I have my judo background, but I don't want to learn like the typical technical thing. Okay, push your foot like this, but at Team Schreiber, you don't know, just punch and just rip his head off, and then you go to this or you can't go to that, you know. And that mentality, every fighter there has that, and that's also something that inspires me, because every time when I step into sparring, we go really hard, you know. And even with small gloves, Bob don't care. We just kick each other's ass really hard in the gym, and that makes the fight more easier. And that's also what inspires me, because those young guys, you know, like I think that now they also have to fight into the 31 of July, and they all are really hungry, and they also have the mentality that boss has, like don't cry, don't do this or don't do that. They don't just want to fight, and they don't want to hear anything else. And I think that mentality and the group that I have now at Volkswagen is like that makes also the best fighter of me, the best MMA fighter of me. So I'm really happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, I'm glad you're getting in such great, work there and stuff like that. But it seems like, even beyond the, professional life, it seems like the personal life you have in a good sort of position as well. Just, being married to somebody that is, in a very similar career path to you, just, kickboxer, MMA fighter, and everything like that. I mean, I imagine that's a hugely important thing because, like, I've talked to certain fighters and there's, discussions about, the sacrifices going into it. Sometimes you have to, take a fight and, cancel a vacation and just certain things like that that maybe people who aren't in the actual sport would understand per se. So I guess how important is it to have that kind of, understanding in the personal life as you're, diligently trying to accomplish your goals?
I think that's so big in my life. Like now this fight camp, he does everything. So I only have to focus on training, eating, resting, training, eating, resting. And besides that, because he knows how it feels, and even if he fights, we do the same. So that we doing the same sport and we have the same passion, that's something that's why I can say that I have a dream marriage, because we understand I only have to look or he has to look and we know exactly how we're feeling. So also he is a big part and he's also always in my corner, and we're going with the same goal to the US Sunday. So not only I am really motivated, but he has the same mindset. He does every training that I did, he did with me the same. So he knows how I feel, and I think that's so important because it's your home where you have to rest and where you take everything and you can let it loose. That's so important, and I have that, and I'm really lucky to have that, and that's why I know that I'm blessed that I have that, and that's also some more motivation because I want to also prove to him, this is not for nothing. You are the perfect husband because I have to fight there, and I'm going to show everyone that I am the best fighter over there. So also that is a really motivation for me, that my husband is also something on the same path and we have the same vision and we really think the same about everything. So yeah, I can say that I'm really lucky.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That's a great thing to hear. It's good to be, optimally prepared on all the levels because, like you said, you need to have that rest and recuperation when you're at home there. But I want to get into some of the specifics of this upcoming fight here because stylistically, I find this Velasquez matchup to be quite interesting, just in as far as, like, you both have, like, the judo kind of background and everything like that. But also Velasquez has shown, a level of aptitude in her stand-up, too, in the title-winning effort against Ilima-Lei Macfarlane. Like, what are your thoughts on Velasquez's skill set overall and just what she's been able to do so far in the Bellator cage?
I think she deserves to be the champion. How her road in Bellator and how she fought against everyone. She deserves to be the champion now. But I think that the big difference is that you can't compare me to any one of those fighters that she fought to. I have a kickboxing record of almost 65. And in those 65, I fought a lot of girls who are just like Juliana Velasquez. And that's the big difference. She didn't fight anyone like me, and that's how you see what the big difference going to be, because she's a really good fighter, but I see also some things that other fighters in this division didn't see or didn't do, and that's going to make a difference, and that's what we're going to take to win back to Holland.
Yeah, and is it one of those things, like, on a game planning level, I guess you have to account for, like, all possible variables. I guess I only ask that because I'm wondering like how much she'll be, I guess, trying to close that space and have more of a grappling minded kind of fight versus like, I guess, trying to like strike at distance. Like, have you thought about how the fight's going to unfurl in that regard? Like, obviously you don't want to, give away the game plan or anything like that, but is that just something you go through with your processes heading into fights, just kind of going over all those different variables as far as what your opponent might do, or is it mostly focused on, I guess, like sharpening your own tools and just getting out there doing your own thing?
It's the last part. It's like sharpening my own tools. My last fourth fight, I fought totally different opponents, like from grappler to some wrestler to kickboxer to totally different. And all those fights, I have the same game plan, and the game plan was my game plan and not theirs. I don't fight with them; they fight with me, and that's what I also going to see in the cage. Because if you put your schedule on your opponent, of course you have to change your levels or change a little bit the game plan, but it's going to be my night, it's going to be my fight. And my game plan, it works. Like every time that we step in the cage with my trainer, Bob Schreiber, he have a plan and we work with that plan. And every time the plan works. And we don't even think about what her plan is or what she's going to do. We only think and focus about my own tools and about my own strength. And that's also something that I have now in this fight. She's a really good fighter, but I know that I am the better fighter. And she deserves to be a champion, but now she's going to make place for a new champion, and that's me.
And to the point of, fans kind of getting reintegrated back into the picture, like, what are your thoughts on all of that there? Like, was it a weird thing to have fights in, like, an empty, no fans in attendance kind of space? Is there a level of excitement getting them back? I know some fighters, get a bolstered performance from, like, those roars of the crowd and stuff like that. Like, how do you feel about that dynamic there?
So cool. I think the last time in Milan, it was an empty stadium, and I also fought there, or Leslie fought there in a full stadium, and that's so much different. So when I heard that Bellator now is gonna take also audience, that's so awesome. But in the cage, you don't really feel the audience, but outside the cage, the energy and yelling and everything around that, it's just dynamic. And I think in every event there has to be audience, because audience is the energy, and we feel the energy, and we miss the energy. So I think that this fight, that the audience is there, is what I feel like really blessed to have them again in the audience.
And just, kind of backtracking a touch, it's like, what were those performances like when there was no fans there? I heard some fighters that I've spoken to anecdotally, they've said it almost reminds them of like a sparring session, like they're just getting in work at the gym kind of thing. Like, how would you liken it?
It's a little bit like that, if I have to be really personal, if for me in the cage, I didn't notice really that I was audience. I just think it was a little bit quieter, but it was not that there is something that I thought, oh, okay, it's like sparring, because when the cage closes, there's no sparring for me. The only thing I think is about fighting. So, for me, it was not something that I think is really the big difference from the last time in Milan. But for now, I'm really, really excited that we have audience, because if you step out the cage and you see people laughing, you see people smiling, and they're all happy that you fought, that's the best thing. That's what we're doing it for, Also, we entertain for the audience. We entertain to promote this beautiful sport, and that means that audience has to see us and to see and to feel the audience by ourselves instead of behind the television. That's so much different than now that we have audience. Now we can touch them. Now we can smile to them. We can see them laugh, and we can hear them. That's so much different, because we also doing this for audience. So it's gonna be really amazing to have that audience in the arena.
Yeah, and I just thought to ask too, with the backdrop of like the last finish you got there, stopping Kate Jackson in less than a minute. I guess maybe I thought it would be weird to get such an emphatic highlight reel knockout, and then it's like, oh, and the crowd goes mild. There's no one here.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Well, a great way to, great way to cement the. I was just saying it's a great way to, cement the title shot there. I mean, that was pretty much the consummate performance there. But usually when I have fighters on the show, I ask if there's, particular genres of music they like to train to. Like, are you grabbing the aux cord at the gym and putting on certain tunes? Is Bob Schreiber maybe not wanting certain genres played? Like, how does all that work out there?
Sorry, the question again. Sometimes I hear like the room or something. I cannot hear the question again. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying if there's particular genres of music that you enjoy training to. Like, are you one to, kind of put on your own tunes at the gym, or is it kind of just like whatever music is playing, you're fine with whatever sort of thing?
Oh, the music. Oh, yes. I'm just fine with whatever. But Bob really likes like house music. So like the really like, like that kind of music. That's also something that I like. So yeah, he always asks everyone, okay, do you want to hear some music? And I'm always the first one to say yes, because I really love to train and exercise on music. I don't like to be quiet, so like the house, everything, I can hear everything. If it's like music, I'm just happy. I love music.
The house music is probably good for, just like footwork exercises and just generally getting into that rhythm and the pacing and whatnot. Do you find that in your training with that particular genre?
For sure, but it's not like the footwork that I want to practice on music, but it's more like the energy, like the bass that you hear, like, and then you feel like, okay, let's go. So
yeah,
it's like more the motivation. That's why I love to hear music in training, but it's not. The footwork is always there, I'm always reminding of footwork. Even if I'm just walking, I think about my footwork. So that don't depend on really on some typical music that I hear. It's more like the rhythm and like the motivation you get from everything from music that you hear.
Yeah, I love that breakdown there. Music definitely a powerful thing, but you've been really great with your time, and I want to be mindful of the rest of your schedule, Denise. So is there anything you might want to add kind of as a parting thought as we're wrapping things up here?
Well, I want to thank you for the interview and for your time and for the questions. And I'm really, for my personal, this whole dream, this whole road, this title means more to me than anything. And this fight camp, I gave it my all. It's like the last energy, the last sweat, blood, everything that I have in this fight camp is going to show this next Friday that the belt is going home to me, to my house, to Holland, next to my blue belt. That's my goal. To be the first woman who have in one organization 2 title world champion belts, and that's my goal. So next to my blue belt, the red belt is gonna also be there. So watch me this Friday.
Well, it's an incredible fight, undefeated champion and a challenger looking to make history, as you said, capturing titles in a couple different combat disciplines. And people can check that out at Bellator 262. It is July 16th, and it is the main event. Really appreciate all the time and insights, Denise. Great getting to have you on the show, and hope to have you on in the future. You enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. I will make a screen photo.
Sorry, what was that?
Thank you so much, and I will speak to you soon after the title fight.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Sounds good.